And welcome back to the 20-year rebuild of the Arizona Cardinals. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. As the Arizona Cardinals posted together their best season so far. 11-6, I believe, they got us fifth. We were the fifth seed. I believe we almost got to the NFC Championship game. Yeah, we lost in the divisional round. So now we're turning our attention here to year 5. How do we improve this team? And where do we need to improve? And this is the current look at the roster. I would say it simply like this, you know, Douglas here and Green will probably be pushed into starting roles for our offense. We have to figure out the guard position. Maybe get some more depth at receiver, but nothing too crazy in my opinion. And then defensively, we have some defensive lineman decisions to make. I think it's mostly, again, focusing on this defense where Elijah Fletcher is our best overall player, as we have 26 players to potentially re-sign, $41 million though. And don't forget, guys, I don't know how much money we're gonna have to give to Justin Herbert. Herbert's entering the last year of his deal, so how much money can we really afford to spend here? As you can see, we have some very important players to make decisions on. Some of them I've drafted, and I'm at a point right now where I don't know if we're gonna make any sort of contract negotiations. Definitely with none of these depth players, and, you know, Mac Wilson, linebacker, will immediately become a need. Brian Perceive, this is an interesting one. I don't know if we have another defensive tackle. We do. Let's see if I can lowball him enough to reject me. Yeah, okay. I just realized that it was $60 million, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I'm doing this just because I want to see how much the franchise tag would be. So let's see. The tag is $30 million. I can't do that for Brian Perceive. We're gonna let him test. We're gonna let everyone test. Timmy Brimble here, slowly developing. And yes, we will pick up this 5th-year option for him. He's a good young corner. I don't know if he's the, you know, home run first-round pick we drafted a couple years ago, but he's still a solid player. So let's get to open free agency. We have some significant moves to make. Currently, with all those players just leaving, this is the rest of the team. You can see we need another interior offensive lineman. I think offensively we're very set. One player to look to be traded at some point this year is Sammy Leonard here. It's been our quarterback. Might have to think about a possible backup for him. What's his name? Justin Herbert. Defensively, yeah, we need linebacker help desperately. You know, our secondary is solid, not great. I think we need help on the defensive line. This is a very much trying to get depth and really see how many good players we can get. Though we also have to remember we don't have a lot of money either. So Chris Lindstrom is out there at guard. I mean, that could solve a pretty significant need. Got Jordan Love, Joey Alford, a young superstar X-Factor receiver, George Kittle, Trey Henderson, and some other solid talent out here. I don't know really what we can do, but we'll try to make a move or two. For whatever reason, I can only make 3 targets, but I think I'm targeting the best players that the team needs here. Chris Lindstrom, no one's offering to him, so I'm gonna lowball him to start off. Emmanuel Merland here, the best linebacker, and we need a new starting inside linebacker. I think he has the ratings to do so. He's that's not what I wanted to do, but I'll fix that in a second. But he has a very good skill set. Duvall here, we drafted him. I kind of just want to bring him back. Let me go renegotiate with Emmanuel. And do we have any new Cardinals as we are getting 2? Manuel is now getting more offers. And Chris Lindstrom does sign with us. So the low ball worked. We signed him to a 1-year, $20 million. Also kind of solidifying this offensive line. I know he's just kind of a band-aid. I don't see his age, 32. But now Moreland getting some more offers. We'll evaluate again. I think we have a good chance to get them both, and we do. So we brought back Duvall to be a solid, linebacker, 2-year deal, not a lot of money. He's okay in coverage, but he's much more of a run defender, which we have to focus and prioritize as well. And Moreland here, 25 years old, normal dev, but 91 speed, 77 zone coverage. He's not the hardest hitting linebacker, but I think he can make some good tackles for us. So, and Lindstrom finishes off this offensive line, which kind of gives us the ability here this draft to kind of just go best player available. And here's the rest of free agency. Jordan Love signs with the Las Vegas Raiders. Jordy Alford's going to the Cowboys. Kittle's going to the Browns. Henderson going to the Cowboys. We see some pretty significant moves. Philip Holt here, he's a nice young defensive lineman. And the Chargers are going to go into the direction of Bo Nix. I'm wondering, where did Kyler Murray go? He decided to go to the Dallas Cowboys with Jared Goff. So the Cowboys got themselves 2 veteran quarterbacks here to help them out. Let's see. Let's try to find the players that we let go. So Daniel, not Daniel. Yeah, Daniel Johnson here. He was our young back that we've been developing, and he's still a free agent looking for a home. From the first draft class, Zachary Moore, who we drafted in the 2nd round, he's still a free agent, and he's developed okay. He's never really gotten his chances, but he's still out there as a free agent. Jonathan Rivers, also from the first draft class, he's signed in with the Indianapolis Colts, I think for a 2-year contract. 25 years old. He just never produced for us. He has that power moves, and that's really about it. So Rivers finds a new home. Ryan Perceive going back to the team that drafted him. And this is kind of a significant loss for our defensive line. He's been one of our better defensive tackles over the last 2 years. It was never really meant to be to bringing him back. The other player though is Darnus Robinson. Robinson here is definitely a candidate to come back. He had 7.5 sacks. He's done it twice now in this series. So Robinson could be that depth defensive tackle that we eventually do decide to bring back. And the final player that I will highlight is Mac Wilson here, the veteran linebacker. He signs also with the Colts, so Rivers and Wilson stay teammates. As this is the current state of the team as we enter into the draft here, we picked 27 this year. I mean, we have our offensive weapons, we have our quarterback, our offensive line. We have 2 young guys that we're developing. We have a very excellent veteran, Paris Johnson, Blake Sherwood. I think getting depth on this offense is very much key. Defensively, I still think, helping out this defensive line is important. Maybe getting a new safety to replace Budda Baker, who's older. He's not going to get any better than this. He's just going to slowly get worse and worse. So we're going to let the draft come to us, though. We do have a 2nd round, 3rd round, 4, 5, and 7. So let's get to pick 27. So here's the draft class, and this is my favorite board as we've made it to pick 27. There's a lot of talent that's already gone, so it's tough to see, but there's still some offensive linemen, a pass rusher, some defensive linemen if we wanted to go in that direction. Tight end, You know, I don't know how long we can really afford to keep Trey McBride. Do we kind of draft someone to develop for a handful of seasons? I would still say linebacker is a position of need for us. But maybe it's a little too early to draft one of them. Yeah, I would say if we wanted to, we could go into the pass rushing boat. There is some good edge rushers. Could go to the offensive lineman, just kind of gear up for another potential loss. Same thing here with the tight end room. Didn't really like these receivers, but you know, there might be some hidden gems here or there. Running backs I'm not thinking about, neither is a quarterback. And safety, it's, you know, my two favorite safeties. This would be the only time to draft one of these guys. Man, this is gonna be a tough decision. I feel like it's important to help out our defense here in the first round, so we're gonna go with Cole Beckham here. He's an outside linebacker that will probably move to the defensive line. He's a pass rusher, and we just reached heavily on him. He does, though, have hidden development. I'm expecting, though, a lower overall here. And here in the second round, we're gonna go with DeAndre Kennedy. He's a free safety that will move to strong safety for us. And I'm hoping that he's the replacement for Budda Baker. And he's the 23rd ranked player, so hit here in the second round. 85 speed is kind of the cusp for me, but hidden development, 21 years old. He'll have a year to sit, and he will develop pretty nicely for us. And here in the third round, we're gonna stay on the defense. Brandon Stockter, cover linebacker. I wanted to get a young guy in this class. We got him right around the spot that he should be drafted in. And we're 3 for 3 hidden development players. 89 speed to complement hidden development. I love how we've started this draft. And here in the fourth round, I'm gonna go with the most intriguing player in this class, a 6'9" tight end, Rashad Kitchens here in the fourth round, and terrible selection, but he has hidden development. Do we have a potential freak at tight end? Wow, what a pick. And here in the fifth round, I'm gonna take a quarterback. Seth Bennett here will be the selection. And we have a cut screen for him. And he is ranked also very badly. So did I just reach on another quarterback? But we're still getting hidden development players. He is a pocket passer. We'll see what his overall is, but as long as it's above an 80 or a 60, I'm okay with it. Now here in the seventh round, we have 4 players still on my board, all UDFA players. One is a punter. We currently don't have a punter on the roster. Another one, we have 2 edge rushers here, and Lance Bernard and John Hood here. And Daniel Cash, a guard. Something that I haven't really addressed in this class. I think we're gonna go with Daniel Cash here, 22 years old, solid speed. Could we have a potential, you know, diamond in the rough here? Ranked 148th in the class, not a bad selection by any means. And I think we just hit every single player in this class having hidden development. Well, I made 6 picks in this draft class. The highest was a 75, but we start here with Cole Beckham here. Hidden development, pass rusher for us. And day 1, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. I think he has some athletic ability, and I think he'll probably take a couple years to develop, but I think he'll be okay. We did draft DeAndre Kennedy here, also hit a development, a run-stopping safety with 90 hit power to start off. You know, yes, he's gonna also be moved positionally-wise, but I'll do that later. But 75 overall, that's not a bad start. Brandon Stockter here, also hit a development, a pass-covered linebacker, 71 zone coverage, and he has 81 hit power as well. I feel like we just drafted our next young middle linebacker. Rashad Kitchens here, also hit a development, but at 59 overall, with 85 speed, 88 acceleration. He can run, he can go deep for you. I very intrigued with Rashad Kitchens, who's 6'9" as well. We drafted here as 62 overall quarterback, and Seth Bennett here, also hidden dev. Accuracy's solid. The throw power needs to go up, but honestly, he's a solid pocket passer. Could he be the future of this Cardinals team? Probably not. And then we finished off the draft with Daniel Cashier, a hidden dev guard who, you know, maybe next year will become a starter, as this will be the opening day roster here in year 5. Justin Herbert, our quarterback. We've given him Chris Lindstrom in free agency. Chase Green and Joey Daniels stepping up as their young offensive linemen. But Justin Herbert has playmakers across the board at all levels. He should produce another good season for us. Defensively, this is where things kind of get a little bit more interesting. You know, we have improved the linebacking room. I think we've added some solid future pieces to this defense with our top 3 selections. It's still going to be a tough road sledding for us. Hopefully we're able to get some turnovers. Moreland here, our new captain of the defense, even though I don't have another captain patch, but that's okay. We brought him in from free agency and hoping that we'll have a big time season for this team here in year 5. As we'll start off here versus the Baltimore Ravens. We went 11-5 a year ago, and we start off the season 0-1, losing to the Ravens 22-17. And now we face against the Bears, Caleb Williams and company, and we're starting this season off not so hot here, 0-2. So we currently have, and this is still week 2, guys. I'm just looking at our contract decisions. So $137 million, Elijah Fletcher, Justin Herbert, Trey McBride, Marcus Brumble, Blake Sherwood, Chris Lindstrom, Buda Baker. There's a lot of starters. We have the capital, we have the money. Our fullback also needs a new deal. Yeah, we have a lot of money, but a lot of big decisions, and this money could go away very quickly, especially because we have our quarterback and our top edge rusher. For Elijah Fletcher, I am not even gonna wait. I need to sign him right now. 6-year deal, $146 million. I am not letting, you know, a losing season influence him massively. So getting that contract out of the way, we'll work on the other deals later on, but I'm going to sim a little bit and see what happens throughout this season. And I decided to sim all the way to the mid-season point where 3-5. Yeah, this has not been the season that I at all expected from us. Started off the year 0-3, got our first victory, and now we're trading wins and losses. Not good whatsoever. You know, halfway through the season, and you're not playing well, it's tough. Herbert having a quieter campaign, and I don't know why he would, but it's been all Jahmyr Gibbs. Rushing well, Daniel Johnson, who we brought back, has 4 scores. Marvin Harrison Jr., 500 yards receiving. Trey McBride has 4 scores. Our offensive line looks to be solid, not great. Defensively, Moreland leads us in tackles, and still no pressure. And we gave Elijah Fletcher a big contract really before this season even started. He has 1 sack. Just 1. You know, I don't know what's up with the defense in Sim. 6 TFLs for our second-year defensive tackle, Thurman Thurman. And then we only have 4 interceptions. This is not a great start. We have a top 5 offense in terms of yardage and a defense that's a little bit below average in terms of yards. You know, currently the only thing we do well is run the football. And we can't stop the run. We can somewhat stop the pass. We can't really score. You know, we have a lot of contracts to decide on. So, okay, so we have Trey McBride. Here's trade candidate number 1. You know, he is obviously one of our best players, a top 5 tight end, but he has no wanting to be, he doesn't have any desire to be back. Doesn't like the scheme, I guess. And I don't know if we could attempt to bring him back, but does it make sense to trade him right now? Try to, assuming that you're gonna have a bad season, does it make sense to try to tank and trade away a guy like Trey McBride? We have Rashad Kitchens, who we just drafted, but I don't know. Marcus Brumble, this is a tough one because, you know, do we really want to lose both of our safeties in one season? I'm not looking to trade him. Blake Sherwood here, first pick of the class in the franchise. I'm absolutely going to attempt to extend him, a 4-year, $50 million. He's not liking it. He wants a mentor. Chris Lindstrom, Buda Baker. Oh, man. This is tough. You know, between both Buda Baker and Chris Lindstrom and Sammy Leonard here, we could attempt to trade these 3 guys. These are 3 older veterans. Just try to get the youth out there, and that's about it. You know, and that would also allow us to start the rookie safety that we just drafted. I do think we're going to make a move. I've decided to make a move here, trading with the Minnesota Vikings, sending both Sammy Leonard, our backup quarterback, and Chris Lindstrom for Wimberly here, and a future second and this year's 5. So I don't think that we're going to really make a massive comeback this season. So traded away Chris Lindstrom, going to put in a new starter here, and Jermaine Wimberly, 25 years old, an 81 pass rusher. I'm going to give him an opportunity. Prove to me that you deserve to be franchise tag. He's had 6.5 sacks already this season. Prove to me that you deserve a new contract. He has another year on his deal, which is actually very nice to see. So, you know, show me what you got. You got 2 years to prove it. As we made it all the way to week 16, or week 15, excuse me, we're 6-7. I kept simming. We kind of did okay. We're just, I don't know what's up with this team. Current playoff picture, we're definitely out of it. But it's unfortunate that we've fallen so far. Justin Herbert here, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, his 3rd season with us. Playing great, not playing terrible either. Gibbs here, rushing machine for us, 1,100 yards and 9 scores already. Daniel Johnson is at an 8 behind him. And receiving-wise, Michael Wilson leads the way. What has happened to Marvin Harrison Jr.? He's just coming off of a breakout campaign, and he's already struggling? You gotta be kidding me. We're paying you close to $25 million this season. Trey McBride here has 4 scores, and he's looking solid out there. This is just tough to see. Offensive line-wise, they've all played very well, in my opinion. Defensively, it will load. Moreland here, playing well. So Wimberly, since joining the team, has 4.5 sacks. So that's solid. Fletcher here has 6. Mike Haynes has 4. Thurman Herbert has 3.5. Okay, so these guys are starting to do something. That's nice to see. And then interception-wise, we have a few. Just a couple guys with 1 INTs. Yeah, I mean, let's sim these next 2 games together, guys. We have the Seattle Seahawks. Going 7-7 here could help us get to the postseason. We did get this victory. And now at 7-7, we're currently the 7th seed. So, you know, it's right now a tight battle here. versus the Niners as well, who we play in week 17. We do have an injury. And who is this on? Chase Green, our starting guard. He's out for the rest of the regular season. Let's see if we can beat the Eagles here in week 16. And we do. So back-to-back victories for us. That puts us as the 4th seed. Wow. All these teams here are right around the same level, I guess. Week 17 here now versus the Niners, and we lose. Having an 8-8 record right now puts us currently as the 7th seed. The Niners, the Vikings, the Cowboys, they all have equal opportunity here. Now we play against the 5-11 New York Giants. But before we sim, do I want to make any sort of signings here? So Justin Herbert, Trey McBride, Marcus Brumble here. What has he done this season? 24 years old. Marcus here has played pretty okay. Nothing to write home about. I don't think that it makes a whole lot of sense to try to give him a new contract. Blake Sherwood, I want to continue to negotiate with him. I'll bump up the money. And the length is right, but honestly, that's it. He wants more money. I would be willing to franchise tag him if necessary. Buda Baker, not going to work on that contract until later, probably. And then for everyone else down the board here, I don't think I'm going to work on any other contracts. So now it's basically, do we say to ourselves over the next 2 seasons, paying Justin Herbert $35 million is worth it? Maybe. Let's give him a 3-year, $105 million, and that's perfect. So I bumped up the year by a year. $35 million a season for a franchise quarterback is not a lot, and I think he'll be able to keep his depth rate, and I'm hoping so, really. But I think this is the smart move for us. We keep him for the next 3 years of the franchise. And do we make it back to the postseason as a wild card, division winners? What happens here? We lost to the New York Giants, and that made us out of the postseason as Dallas got their victory, and we're left as the 8th seed. Outsiders looking in. So in 3 years of Justin Herbert, he's gotten us to the playoffs 1 time, 1 division victory or division title. And the other 2 seasons, he's posted 2 below 500, but right around a 7-8 record. Yeah, 17th ranked offense in terms of yardage, and in terms of defense, 19th, so below average offensively and defensively. Herbert threw 25 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, I believe, or 9 interceptions. So yeah, back to his year 1 performance pretty much. It's kind of like a copy and paste here for us. And this year he went 7-10. So I don't really understand. We had a fantastic run game, 1,300 yards for Gibson, 13 scores as well. Daniel Johnson added 8 on the ground. We see that Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. both posted up 900 yards. This is better. I thought Harris was not going to have this type of season. They both also scored 6 times. Trey McBride caught a lot of footballs, but I don't know just yet what we're going to do with him. Blake Sherwood allowed the most sacks with 7, but this offensive line looked very solid across the board. Happy to see that. Moreland here leads us in tackles. In terms of TFLs, Thurman with 12. Jamie Wimberly with 11. We see 12.5 sacks, so that means he had 6 sacks with us. So that's nice to see. Eli Fletcher here had 10.5 sacks. So after starting off the season slow, he regained his strive, definitely now earning that contract that we gave him. You know, he started off the season, guys, you know, with 1 sack all the way up until week 9. So, and then he kind of started popping off over the last month and a half. So that's nice to see. You see that Mike Haynes had only 4. Thurman with 3.5. Our rookie linebacker got some good development. And a couple interceptions, nothing to write home about. As in terms of yearly awards, Colin Anthony, the quarterback of the Saints, is your MVP. And the Bears head coach is the coach of the year. Let's see if there's any Cardinals. Nothing so far. Jahmyr Gibbs, best running back. And defensively, not really expecting. Nope, so nothing there. One thing that I want to do at every single quarter of this series is go through the players' stats here, because this is kind of why I'm doing this, is to see how players grow and develop. So, Justin Herbert through 9 seasons, over 260 touchdowns, 100 interceptions. Having a great campaign. We see Jahmyr Gibbs could be the next 10,000-yard running back with 100 scores probably next season. We also see the kid that we drafted in the first class 5 years ago has just hit 1,000 yards, but he has 26 scores on the ground. He is a touchdown machine for teams. Michael Wilson leads us in receiving yards. Then you have Trey McBride, and then Marvin Harrison Jr., who's having an okay career. He's a solid receiver, and that's weird to say. In 2 years for Wade here, he's posted up close to 2,000 yards, or 3 years, excuse me, and 16 scores. Offensive line, if it loads, Paris Johnson leads us in sacks allowed. Blake has allowed the second most, but we have a lot of young guys that we're developing. Budda Baker has 14 career interceptions and 10.5 sacks. Elijah Fletcher, though, has the most sacks drafted by the Browns, and we traded for him in a first-round pick. We also traded for Jamie Wimberly in this past year, and 29 sacks so far in his career. Zaven Collins with 31, Mike Haynes with 21. He's been with us since day one. Thurman, 6.5 sacks. Some other guys making some plays. Grant Williams, one of our better young corners. 14 interceptions. Zaven Collins with 10 interceptions. The guys we've drafted, the Brumble brothers have a total of 11 INTs. Orlando Thomas has 5. We have not drafted that shutdown #1 corner. These guys have been in the league for a while now, or for not 5 seasons, but they've played well. Michael Heck this year was our kicker, and he played solid for us. I'm happy about that. Punting for AJ Cole, and then we don't really have a good kick returner. And here's the Pro Bowl roster here. I missed this last episode. No quarterback. Gibbs is the best running back. No one at receiver. So far, only Gibson. We see a Christian Lindstrom here. Wait, no, that's not the guard that we traded for. Yeah, Christian Lindstrom. Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler. He was on our team, but we moved off of it. We had a Pro Bowler pass rusher. That's nice to see. Not on the other side. That's unfortunate. And then nothing else so far with his defense and this team. So not a lot of Pro Bowlers. Kind of a forgetful season here in year 5. It's kind of unfortunate though, as let's get to past the Super Bowl week. And this year's Super Bowl champs are the New Orleans Saints, beating the Chiefs 31-28. Colin Anthony gets his MVP and his Super Bowl ring. And beating the Chiefs, that's impressive in and of itself. As we're going to be gearing up for year 6, guys. It looks like we have $67 million in cap. And I want to, show you guys the guys that we still have to make decisions on. Orlando Thomas, his 5th-year option. Trey McBride, who did not regress, so his contract remains. Marcus Brumble here, his contract might have reset. Blake we still need to decide on, but he now has interest in coming here. Buda is still an 80 overall, so regression has, yeah, hurt him, but he is still the 16th best safety in the league, so I don't think we're going to move off of... we're not going to let him hit the market, most likely. And some other solid players for us, so... And we have to decide on our fullback. But where are we in terms of this rebuild? You know, at least in terms of our head coach and Nick King here. Let's look at his record. I believe, where is he? I probably have passed him like a handful of, oh, there he is. So Nick King currently has 142 wins, 117 losses, above a 500 record. He's had... So sorry guys, I was talking about a different King. Here's our head coach, Nick King. He's a kind of above 500 with a 43-42 record. He's had 2 winning seasons. He's won the playoffs twice. He's won 2 playoff games and lost once. No Super Bowl appearances. So, you know, we've had 1 very good season with Kyler Murray in the first year with the rebuild. And then we had 1 very good season with Justin Herbert. And now we've had kind of 2 below average years with Herbert and 1 very bad year with Murray. So, you know, where are we as a team? You know, one thing to note here is we're starting to have a lot of older guys being paid. I mean, we don't have a ton of young talent that we're slowly developing besides this offensive line. And, you know, we need the guys that are good to step up. You know, now Herbert's 32 years old, and he's gonna have to produce for us. We still have a top tier running back. I don't know what's up with Michael Wilson, but now Wilson has 85 speed at 30 years old. Could this up and coming season be a year to consider trading Wilson? He's been on the team all 5 years. He had the breakout season to bring him up to X Factor, but since then he's done nothing really. He has 2 years on his deal. I think Michael Wilson could be a potential trade candidate. You know, we have Wade here who could fill in immediately. And, you know, we try to keep Trey McBride most likely. Offensive line-wise, I mean, we have our young guys, and we're going to develop them. And we're just going to make sure we can keep Blake here. Pass rush will still always be a need, I guess, for us. We just need help. And I think this defense, we need to add a star to this defense. And we've been trying to develop someone. You know, secondary is becoming more and more probably a need for us because Greg Williams is 29 already. And next year, Timmy Brimble here is going to probably be off the team. Orlando's contract's coming up. You know, do we go with... We have DeAndre Kennedy. Does he start at free safety and then moves to strong safety? Buda Baker didn't retire, thankfully. I mean, we have a lot of work to do and to kind of rebuild this foundation. And I do feel like we're still in a position where we are expected to win because of the fact that we have Justin Herbert. And for right now, at least, I would say I'm going to give it another probably year or two here with Herbert before I kind of pull the plug. But that's a quarter way through this rebuild. So far, the Cardinals have seemed to be a very difficult team so far to rebuild. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's action. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave a comment on what you've thought about this series so far. This is an experiment for me, guys. I'm kind of winging it on each episode, but I'm having a great time. I hope you are as well. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.